Hey, have you got a guru cult where people died of accidental deaths? Yeah. Thing that people forget about the Osho cult is that in its early period, with its early commune, it basically had a number of wealthy individuals from the West who'd go over there and give huge amounts of money to the guru, their life savings in effect, their trust funds. And they would live over there in simple orange robes, or red robes. And they would basically have a number of weird practices. Under Osho. Before he went by the name Osho, he went by the name Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, which is quite a mouthful. And yes, basically they had the people screaming. You've probably seen the video of these people doing these prana meditations, rather than sitting quietly somewhere or standing quietly perhaps, or, you know, whatever the case may be, sitting in a chair, sitting cross-legged, whatever, in traditional meditations. Instead they would be there, you know, screaming and dancing, and there'd be drums playing, and there'd be 1,000 people in the room by the time of the 1980s. I mean, you see some of the videos of people over in Oregon when they had their commune over there, very similar over in India. But they'd also end up with people who get barked at when you join the cult. They'd break you down. The goal is to make you cry, to break you down, strip naked, and they yell insults. And then to get your clothes back, well, how intelligent, how enlightened are you, you know, to get your clothes back? There must be a way of getting your clothes back, mustn't there? And it must be a straightforward procedure, because enlightened, liberated people do enlightened, liberated things. And that includes free sex. You know, you want to get your stuff back? Well, there's a way of doing that, isn't there? How free are you? Sex parties, it's like, you know, you're demanded to join in. It's part of being enlightened. Enlightened people don't close themselves off. So, oh yeah, we'll do this kind of stuff as well. And what else? Fights. Yes, physical, you know, tussles, fighting, people fighting, you know, to get the anger out of them, rather than dealing with your problems internally and coming to some interesting conclusions about the nature of your mind, how you think, how you feel, how you progress in your life. Instead, it's like fight away your frustration, dance and scream away your frustration, fuck away your frustration. Oh, these are great lessons from the guru, going right through his period when he had communes, his, what's the term, ashrams, yeah. So you've got a commune, and it's like, oh yes, commune, what do we do? Oh, free love, give you money, you've got no possessions now. The guru's going around in Rolls Royces and other expensive cars. They've got a huge collection, and oh, they were just gifts from wealthy contributors. Oh, were they? Oh, well, gifts from contributors, very good. We need a bit more money, and we're trying to get together all the rich people. The other cults, they have the poor people, and we would prefer to have the rich ones. Gee, I can't imagine why. Need another Rolls Royce. Oh, here we are, Osho. And it's like, yeah, this is pretty fucked up right now. A lot of these patterns carried on, of course, and I mentioned the other day to do with the bioterrorism, because there's bioterrorism carried out by Osho's organisation under the orders of Osho, and this is back in the 80s, where they poisoned supermarkets, and they passed on. I forget the actual condition. It was, I forget the right term for it now. They passed on basically food poisoning to large numbers of people, and no one died, but one person got seriously ill. And yeah, it's pretty disgusting that they would carry out that kind of action, as well as shipping drugs into the US, as well as shipping people illegally into the US, you know, basically by sending passports, which they have achieved, citizens, to these people who were not actually citizens, so they could get into the US and then stay there illegally on the commune, being hidden away. Yeah, very shady. And he was banned from numerous nations for these kind of practices. Numerous high-ranking members found in connection to, you know, basically importing drugs, illegally of course, and various other things for that matter. So is it any wonder that there was a problem? Oh no, it was just simply the conservative nature of society at the time. It's like, well, we're talking about the 70s with a lot of these things, and a lot of the nations we're talking about, including several European nations, even then were incredibly liberal. So that doesn't really wash. And the US, which is quite conservative, and back in the 80s, even more so the high point of Reaganism, yeah, I don't think it's fair to say that it's simply a question of You know, conservatism blocking the Osho movement from getting in. When they allowed them in during Reaganism, they built this massive commune, I said communism, commune during the height of Reaganism, and it's only when it went awry, and there was bioterrorism charges plus other charges, that they actually brought them in. And you've got this picture you'll probably see online of Osho holding up his number plate, you know, his little number, like for his arrest, you know. So, yeah, we shouldn't forget these things. We should not forget that individuals who were involved in the fights that I mentioned earlier, several of them have died. And admittedly, most of those were just simply average individuals who were relatively low down, who had very little impact. But actually, one was actually related to the royal family, but a distant princeling of some kind. It's mentioned briefly in a book by a well-known author, but it's also something worth looking into. And yeah, many people with money or with sufficient amounts of money flirt with these cults that are made to steal away their money, even if they believe in it and believe in the good of the cult. And what kind of guru goes, yes, I've got an enlightened message. Who's that for? Just those people who can afford it. Basically, Osho was a lot like L. Ron Hubbard in some ways. Probably in some ways more successful, in some ways less successful. But in any case, yeah, a crook.
I have to say, I think Robert almost comes with a deep psychosis.